What happens when the world's two largest economies go head-to-head? A chilling trade war is underway, leaving global markets shuddering. Just over a month ago, tensions boiled over when the United States unveiled a hefty 10% tariff on Chinese imports, swiftly followed by another 10%. This wasn't just a slap on the wrist, it came hand in hand with a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico. The White House remains unyielding, warning that if China oversteps, tariffs could soar to a staggering 60%. This sparks a dilemma: are we on the brink of the next great trade conflict? China's response was swift and alarming. The nation, recognized as a manufacturing titan, is gearing up for an all-out struggle against what it perceives as aggression from the Trump administration. Officials announced a grim warning: we seek calm discussions, but retaliation will follow if our interests are threatened. As farmers and high-tech industries in America brace for impact, global supply chains hold their breath. In retaliation, Beijing executed a calculated move. On March 4, 2025, Chinese Minister of Commerce Wang Wenta laid out their strategy, imposing tariffs on American agricultural products, including chicken, corn, and wheat, set to take effect just a week later. This was no random strike, it was a deliberate assault aimed at the heart of the U.S. agricultural sector, strategically planned to impact Trump's core voter base. Will this tactic backfire and unleash a wave of economic consequences for incumbents? The stakes couldn't be higher. U.S. exports to China, valued at $21 billion, are at risk. The retaliation escalates further with the threat of restricting semiconductor exports and shifting major aviation orders to European manufacturers like Airbus. Could this be the moment China really steps up and reshapes the aviation industry? The strategy hints at a larger game plan aimed at disrupting America's tech and military industries. The implications of these maneuvers could rattle the global economy to its core. As the dust settles, there's a nagging question: can there be a path to resolution? At the same time Beijing issues these threats, state-controlled media issues calls for dialogue, crafting a narrative that they're open to negotiations. But for how long can this dual approach work? The clock is ticking, and every tick raises the stakes higher. Will the U.S. reach a compromise, or is a titanic clash on the horizon? The echoes of the past trade conflicts resound, urging both sides to tread carefully. Each decision carries weight. Every tariff set could trigger a domino effect. The fight is far from over. Tension in global trade is boiling over as the United States and China find themselves locked in a fierce battle that could reshape the world's economic landscape. Just recently, a fresh wave of tariffs initiated by the Trump administration has rattled markets, leaving countries and corporations on edge. The Trump tariffs target crucial sectors, igniting a furious response from Beijing, signaling that retaliation is on the horizon. How far will both sides go in this escalating conflict? On March 4, 2025, in a press conference that echoed through the halls of power, Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wenta declared the nation's defiance. We will not concede to these tariffs, he asserted, emphasizing that China would unleash stern countermeasures if provoked. This fiery warning aimed at the agricultural backbone of the U.S. economy sent shivers down the spines of farmers and market analysts alike. The stakes were elevated, and the world braced for impact. Just days later, China executed a strategic onslaught, imposing a staggering 15% tariff on imports of American staples like chicken, corn, and cotton. Beijing barred 15 U.S. companies from sourcing from China unless granted special permission, a move that tightened the noose on American trade channels. It represented a direct attack on approximately $21 billion worth of U.S. exports, making it clear that Beijing intended to retaliate with pinpoint precision. In response to the initial wave of tariffs, China swiftly countered by announcing additional tariffs on liquefied natural gas, coal, and agricultural equipment, effectively targeting American industries with laser focus. Amounting to just a fraction of U.S. exports, these retaliatory tariffs signal a cautious but serious shift in tactics, one that could cripple critical supply chains. Yet, as the rhetoric intensifies, both nations must navigate a treacherous landscape fraught with risks. Could these actions undermine foreign investments and further destabilize the global economy? The specter of trade war looms larger than ever, with the potential to send shockwaves through the world's economies. As America and China step up their verbal duels, the world's gaze remains fixated on this formidable showdown, unsure of how the tides of trade might turn. Will either side blink first in this dangerous game of economic chicken? Or will they escalate their confrontations further, leading to an all-out trade war that may redefine the balance of power on the global stage? In this escalating saga, every statement, every tariff, and every countermeasure adds another layer of tension. The question remains, can cooler heads prevail, or will the economic landscape be forever altered by the echoes of this trade war? In the escalating battle between the United States and China, recent tariffs have drawn a stark line in the sand. Though these tariffs affect just a fraction, 1/10, of American exports to China, their impact looms large. This strategy, dubbed supply chain warfare, evokes a sense of urgency and numerous risks for Beijing. The Chinese leadership, grappling with a faltering domestic economy from the real estate crisis, must tread carefully while wielding this weapon. To deepen its grip, China has imposed restrictions, now barring 15 companies from purchasing from its markets. Even more alarming, the Ministry of Commerce has added an additional 10 American companies to a list of untrustworthy organizations, effectively shutting them out of doing business in China. Many of these companies are military contractors, but the cut extends to biotechnology firms like Illumina, accused of breaching marketplace norms. This move signals determination, as Beijing aims to send a powerful message. In a press conference, Lu Chinian, a spokesman for the National People's Congress, did not mince words. He condemned the U.S. for flouting World Trade Organization rules with its unilateral tariffs. He emphasized that these actions jeopardize the safety and stability of global supply chains. Tensions are palpable, especially as President Trump implies a direct connection between tariffs and the influx of fentanyl, the synthetic opioid wreaking havoc across America. The stakes have never been higher, as the trade war shows signs of relighting, particularly targeting the heart of Trump's support, American farmers. A senior Chinese official has hinted that the agricultural sector, soybeans, corn, and meat, could see significant tariff hikes. The clock is ticking. Will the tariffs push American farmers to the brink? In this chess game of international trade, who holds the winning hand? The world watches, anxiously bracing for the next move. In the gripping heart of a new trade conflict, Beijing appears ready to unleash a strategy targeted at America's agricultural backbone. Recent statements from a senior Chinese official have suggested that the farming industry, which notably supports Trump's political base, is about to face a reckoning. Tariffs on crucial goods like soybeans, corn, and beef are being positioned as pivotal levers in this escalating economic duel. With the stakes high, China is honing in on Midwestern farming territories, aiming to deliver impactful blows against American producers. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reported that soybean exports to China soared to nearly $22 billion last year. However, the implementation of these tariffs could plunge that figure into alarming decline, pushing farmers, who once looked to Trump for protection, into potential financial ruin. March 4, 2025, marked a crucial pivot in this narrative, with headlines blaring that China retaliates against Trump tariffs as superpower trade war escalates. These new tariffs, referred to ominously as Trump 2.0, extend beyond agricultural imports to encroach upon technology sectors, particularly semiconductors. White House insiders have speculated that China's ambitions may include striking at the heart of American high-tech production, potentially cutting exports of vital minerals and rare earth elements essential for manufacturing. The tension soared when a Beijing official warned that underestimating China's resilience could be a grave error for the U.S. We, too, are formidable, was the clear message. This declaration foreshadows a confrontation that could unfold across multiple American industries, potentially including automotive and aerospace as well. The specter of reduced Boeing purchases looms large, with Boeing currently selling approximately 150 aircraft annually to China. Any shift to European manufacturers like Airbus could inflict catastrophic financial repercussions on the U.S. aerospace sector. This trade war is a game of chess, where every tariff, every retaliatory measure, can reshape the global economic landscape. As the conflict deepens, one can only wonder, what will be the next move in this high-stakes battle? Will China's strategies shift the balance, or will the pressure push them back to the negotiation table? The world watches closely, knowing that each decision could echo through supply chains and economies around the globe. The escalating trade conflict between major powers has reached a boiling point. China is considering drastic measures that could dramatically shift the economic landscape. A potential change in its aircraft procurement strategy looms ominously over the American aerospace industry, specifically targeting Boeing. If China pivots to sourcing from competitors like Airbus, the repercussions for the U.S. could amount to billions thrown into uncertainty. This scenario keeps the Trump administration on high alert. In recent discussions, Canada's retaliation seems to form a synchronized front with China. Cutting off energy resources has been mentioned, raising concerns about an even more dire situation for the United States. Meanwhile, China appears to be positioning itself to exert pressure on American farmers and tech giants. This tactic paints a troubling portrait for the U.S., especially since they are now entangled in a multifaceted trade war. Reports suggest that the ripple effects of such tariffs could ignite domestic inflation and disrupt supply chains that are critical for the economy. At a press conference on March 3, 2025, President Trump made his stance clear, insisting they are ready for discussions but will not concede an inch. He quoted, "Let those who do not like our tariffs trade fairly with us or they will pay the price." This declaration underscores his unwavering determination amid a complex web of international negotiations. Meanwhile, a Chinese editorial struck a defiant tone, stating the U.S. is once again exhibiting blatant arrogance, ignoring the steely resolve of its counterparts. The editors warned that extensive measures against American agricultural products and high-tech exports are on the horizon. This rhetoric serves as an ominous indication that China's pushback could extend far beyond mere tariffs, potentially reshaping entire market dynamics. What will unfold in this high-stakes showdown? As the tension mounts, stakeholders across the globe hold their breath, awaiting each new twist in this escalating war of attrition. In the rising heat of a new trade war, tension crackles like static in the air. Policies clashing, profits plummeting, this saga pits the United States against China in a high-stakes battle that could reshape global economics. Just recently, tariffs have ignited once more, but this time, they aim to strike at the very heart of the American agricultural sector. The escalating conflict began when the Trump administration imposed a shocking 10% tariff on Chinese goods, which rapidly swelled to an additional 10% in no time. As President Trump stood firm, unyielding, Chinese officials cut through the financial fog, issuing grim warnings about retaliation. "If our interests are threatened, we will respond with vigor," they proclaimed. The calls for calm seemed hollow against the backdrop of war drums echoing through the markets. In this charged atmosphere, the stakes rise dramatically. Just days after these tariff announcements, the Chinese government retaliated sharply, targeting key American exports. Their hungry eyes, poised to strike, glimmered with intent as they aimed their tariffs directly at crops like soybeans, corn, and even cotton. This could escalate quickly, crippling America's heartland, a vital pillar of Trump's voter base. What happens to farmers who find their livelihoods decimated overnight? The smell of desperation hung heavy, the sound of machinery silenced. One senior official ominously noted that farmers are the backbone of Trump's support. "We will make sure they receive our message loud and clear through these tariffs," he declared. If the stakes weren't high enough, China's agricultural purchases, totaling a staggering $100 billion in 2024, dangle perilously in the balance. What would happen if Beijing slashed imports to zero, leaving farmers stranded? In a stunning twist, the potential for further escalation looms large. Already, tariffs are eyeing vital sectors like technology and machinery, particularly rare earth elements, essential for semiconductors. The shadows of the past trade war loom ominously, a reminder of America's vulnerability. Trump faces a looming question: can he withstand the mounting pressure from American farmers, or will he opt for compromise with China? As the two superpowers circle each other, the stakes could not be higher. The world watches, anxiously waiting to see how this conflict will unfold. Can reason prevail, or are we on the brink of a spiraling trade war that could leave profound scars? With every day, the sound of escalating tensions grows louder, drowning out the whispers of dialogue. Will the two nations find common ground, or will this contentious dance lead to a financial catastrophe? The trade war has returned with a vengeance, igniting fierce tensions between the United States and China. Only a month has passed since tariffs were imposed, and the stakes are higher than ever. The agricultural sector, vital to America's heartland, now finds itself in the crosshairs of Beijing's retaliation strategy. As the world watches closely, China's rhetoric intensifies, proclaiming that if its interests remain under threat, swift retaliation is unavoidable. In a remarkable press conference on March 4, 2025, China's Minister of Commerce issued a stern warning: "Our door is open for negotiation, but we will fiercely defend our interests." American farmers, particularly in the Midwest, are sweating bullets. Will Trump succumb to the pressure from agricultural voters, or will he double down, risking a devastating hit to the American economy? China has strategically targeted several industries with its countermeasures, particularly American agricultural exports. A staggering 15% tariff was slapped on imports like chicken, corn, and soybeans. This could decimate farmers who relied on the near $22 billion in soybean exports last year. Will they face bankruptcy? Meanwhile, in the technology sector, restrictions loom large over semiconductors and critical minerals, vital for America's tech giants. As tensions mount, an unexpected twist unfolds. Amid accusations of exaggeration over fentanyl exports harming American lives, China asserts its right to defend itself. The narrative has shifted, blurring the lines between trade and national security. America is ramping up its demands, threatening sanctions while China prepares for comprehensive retaliation. Could energy deals and aviation contracts become collateral damage in this escalating battle? In a clandestine meeting, rumors circulate that Beijing may consider hefty taxes on U.S. liquefied natural gas. What happens if this plan comes to fruition? How will it alter the dynamics of the trade war? Tension grows thicker, leaving everyone wondering, who will yield first? The stakes have never been higher as both powerhouses brace for a showdown that could rock the global economy. The echoes of this clash are sure to be felt far and wide. As tensions mount between the United States and China, a fierce trade battle is brewing. In just a short time, the stakes have been raised once again. With the echoes of tariffs resonating through the markets, both nations are gearing up for a confrontation that threatens not only their economy but the entire world's. Who will ultimately endure the pressure, and who will crumble under the weight of their ambitions? The United States, with its rallying cry claiming, "Tariffs are simple to win," stands firm, envisioning a triumph that could forever alter its economic landscape. Yet China, undeterred and resolved, counterclaims, "We resisted before, and we will do so again." This escalating struggle could send shockwaves through the global economy. The brewing conflict is not limited to China. Trump's tariffs have already ignited tensions with Canada and Mexico. If these actions prompt simultaneous retaliation from multiple fronts, a domestic crisis could erupt, particularly among agricultural and manufacturing sectors that are vital to American livelihoods. As Congress grapples with the question of the wisdom behind a multi-front war, President Trump remains unyielding. At a press conference on March 3, he declared, "We have the power. We will rectify trade imbalances. No one will devour America." His words spark further flames of the trade war, with uncertainty lurking at every corner. What could be the next move in this tense game? Can China truly overpower the United States? Or does Trump have a new strategy up his sleeve aimed at forcing Beijing to capitulate? If China stops its agricultural imports and halts purchases of Boeing products, what does that mean for American farmers and the aerospace industry? The stakes include crucial elements like semiconductors and rare earths that are essential for technology and defense. These questions linger in the air, as the showdown between these economic titans approaches an explosive climax. Everyone watches with bated breath, waiting for the next developments in this high-stakes saga, each moment leading us closer to revelations that could reshape international trade forever. The unfolding narrative will remain at the forefront of global attention, shaping conversations for weeks to come. Will China or Trump ultimately yield? The answer remains elusive, but the world stands ready to witness the outcome of this monumental trade war.